let me tell you about the day that Jimmy Butler became him. Before he ever reached the shores of South Beach, he had one infamous moment with the Timberwolves. And Butler's former teammate Jeff Teague went on his pod to reveal some secrets of what actually went down at the Wolves practice. To get you caught up, Karl Anthony Towns and Jimmy were not getting along. Butler didn't like the work ethic of Cat and Andrew Wiggins, and he requested a trade in the summer of 2018. Jimmy then showed up to camp 3 days late, and when he did show, he didn't participate in any of the drills his first practice, until Coach Tom Thibodeau called for a scrimmage. But when Thibs put him with the starters, alongside Cat, Wiggins, Teague, and Taj Gibson, Jimmy yelled, "I ain't playing with them," and instead of playing with the second-team bench guys, he joined the third team, guys who had no chance of making the roster. So, Thibs went with it, put Derrick Rose with the first-teamers instead, and they played a scrimmage. Of course, we all know that Jimmy then led that team to a victory, but they didn't just win. According to Teague, Jimmy's team won 18-6. And that's when Butler started running and yelling, "Y'all think that team could win without me? I'm him. Pay me." But here's the craziest part. That's when Jimmy finally took off his warm-ups, and he had cut out the Timberwolves logo on his chest, and he had cut out the logo on his shorts. So he was running around with a huge hole in his shirt and shorts, yelling, "I just beat them with G Leaguers. These are your starters?" And Jeff Teague was just cracking up watching this, until he realized that he was one of the starters. And then immediately his mood changed, and the starters wanted a rematch. Thibs wouldn't allow it though. He had the second unit play Jimmy's squad of third stringers, and sure enough, Jimmy won again. So the starters were ready for their rematch. But Jimmy had darted off to the locker room already, and when they went in to go find him, he was nowhere to be found. Jimmy had already gone home. So they finished up practice, and when they turned on the TV in the locker room, Teague remembered they were all shocked to see Jimmy Butler sitting down with Rachel Nichols, doing an ESPN interview at home, talking about how he showed up to practice, beat them good, and yelled at everyone. Teague called it one of the most iconic moments he's ever been a part of. Of course, Jimmy was later traded to the Sixers, and then to the Heat, where he finally found a home. And he continues to prove that he's him in the 2023 playoff series against the Bucks, scoring 98 points in 2 playoff games, joining MJ, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, KD, Rick Barry, and Wilt Chamberlain as the only players to score more than 95 points in back-to-back playoff games. Having led the Heat to a perennial contender, there's no doubt that Jimmy got that dog in him. And we all knew that back in 2018, when he had one of the most legendary practices of all time.